Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. We are going to start our meeting. I would like to, as we start, to ask Kaylynn Paxson if she would start us with a prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, we give you all the glory and praise for this beautiful nation that you have so graciously given us opportunity to be born into, to call our home, to celebrate, to defend, to stand by. God, we thank you that regardless of what the news is telling us daily, regardless of what we hear and see around us daily, you have the final say. And we thank you for your calling to fight for this beautiful country. And we ask that you would go with us to battle. We thank you that you say you always stand with us in the fire. And Father, right now, while we gather here to learn of these candidates and learn of their platforms, we keep in our hearts and our minds gratitude for this process, that we can step forward and we can follow the calling to lead. But Father, we ask that you, who knows the truth beyond anything told or heard, would provide a way for the right candidate that you have ordained to fill each seat, to win this primary and go on and win the general election. And Father, we pray for the candidates that you have ordained this year to be surrounded by your strength, to be led by your guidance, and to be held up by all of us standing beside and behind them and lifting them up in prayer. And Father, we thank you that tonight we remember that we're all, at the end of the day, serving one God in our one country, and that you keep us united. And we ask all of these things in your name, Father. We give you tonight's meeting. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Beautiful. So I would like now to ask Jenny Cron, would you please lead us in the pledges?
You'll join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry? No. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yes. So I would like now to open our forum by first thanking not the candidates, because as you can see, as you look around you, we don't have any of our 4 candidates there, but their representatives. We have representative for 2 of our candidates. Congressman Michael Clark will be represented by Barbie Baker, who is his senior field representative, and Scott Mendel will be represented by Israel Garcia. Chris Mapp is on the road. He will have an opening statement read by Barbara Jernigan, and we have not heard from Luis Espindola. So that you know, Congressman Michael Clark is in DC. He's right now in session, so we can't really blame him because that's why we sent him there. So he's in session. His last session started right now at 5:45, so he cannot be with us. If technology works with us, we will have a video for his opening statement, and then if possible, if it works, he's going to text answers to the questions, or at least some of them, as much as he can, to Barbie Baker, who will read them to us. So that's how we're trying to make it work. and the other Scott Mendel will be represented fully by Israel. And that's about it for how this is going. So we also want to thank the candidates like Jenny, who is with us tonight. Because we have so few candidates, you want to take just 2 minutes to talk about your campaign? Yeah. As you know, we don't normally do this when we have forums, but because tonight is a little bit special, we're glad to be able to have you.
Well, thank y'all. Yes, so I know I've spoken with y'all at least 2 or 3 times now, and with the other Republican candidates that I'm so happy to be joined with, Jaime Tiarina and Ishmael Fonseca and John West. But just to let you know, as we previously stated, our jurisdiction for this court covers 20 counties, so we've been traveling quite a bit. I was in McAllen on Monday at a bipartisan event. That was a little different. As you can imagine, I actually got to take the stage for the first time with my opponent. That will be in November. So that was a nice change of pace, you might say, and I was proud to represent the Coastal Bend in the Rio Grande Valley. I was the only, I believe, I know on the stage I was the only individual not from the Rio Grande Valley, but I think in the entire banquet room, I was the only person that was not from down there. So I was proud to be there and represent y'all. I think that the campaign is going well. Again, just trying to reach everyone that we can at this point. 20 counties is a broad span. It's even larger than this congressional district. So we just, again, would ask y'all to, tell your friends, neighbors, family to remember us when it, comes time to vote down ballot, to remember that our the judiciary is going to not be at the top of the, voting. It's going to be down. Please tell people not to skip over it. As you see in the news today, how important the judicial system is to all these, values. Our core family values are being attacked right now, and it's ending up in the judicial system. And you're seeing these play out every day in the news. So please, please tell all your friends, family, neighbors, anyone that how important these judicial races are, and to vote for us on the 13th Court of Appeals. And we will flip this court this year, and it'll be a historic event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good luck to all of you. Just a quick note on this to remind you, next week we have our last forum, which will be the higher courts. As we always say, those courts are extremely important. Right now, they keep giving bad results, so we really need to change them and the judges that are and justices that are on them. So please come back next week, and please help us distribute our voter guide so that people have an idea. They have no idea who those people on their ballot are if they are not local, so we really need to do that. So, and one more thing, the following week, next week, so we have our last forum, and the following week we will have a rally that will be Texas Votes Red. If weather permit, we will do the rally downstairs on the patio, and if not, we'll do it up here. So, I want also to thank all of you who are here. You are the voters, you are the ones who make the decision. Your vote is extremely important. Very few people altogether vote in the primaries. Your vote has an extremely big weight, so please don't waste it. Thank you. So I would like now, before we start our forum, to ask Annie and Bob if they would sing for us. We, as you know, Annie did that a few weeks ago. She has an amazing song. It's a new one that you haven't heard yet. I think it's called Walk My Swan, and I think you're going to love it. So, Annie, it's yours.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me? All right. Well, welcome everybody. Like Suzanne said, we did play a couple weeks ago. We did Domestic Terrorists, We Are Patriots. And we went home and we wrote a new song. So we're going to play that for you tonight. I hope you like it. Actually, we're going to do the new one first. And then if you like it and you like, you know, his voice, then give him some love and he'll play the second one. Thank you very much. This is Mickey Bob. Oh, and the song, I should say, the title is Trump Walkin', because we'll be walking to those polls, because this is Trump country.
I bet you can hear me, can't you? Some people have the blues, some folks just see red. In between is full of fighting words, united action instead. All one great big America, between the red, white, and blue. Trump walk together, back in what we could do. Stable life for economy, down the national debt. We said it's great to be woke, but we're all going broke. Need a Trump walk to the left. Left foot, right foot, forward there we go. Need the new song in there. Control the border, law and order, great nation under God. Trump walk, let's walk with unity in there. Time to educate, not indoctrinate. Priorities of our best. Freedom protection was an insurrection. Six we won't regret. Trump walk revolution. It's a common sense solution. No inflation, just stop creation. Left foot, right foot, make a step for America. Hold the border, all in order, great nation under God. Trump walk, let's walk with unity in there. Stand up, stars and stripes, make America great again. Build it back better, might have come together if anybody had a plan. Can't even form complete sentences. He's a stolen election man. Trump walking, let's talking, shut up and get it done. Left foot, right foot, make a step for America. Close the border, all in order, great nation under God. Standing for Hey, thanks, y'all. I see I need to polish up on that one a little bit.
We just finished.
So, do you want to hear the other one? The domestic terrorist. So if you didn't get to hear the story before, Annie was at J6, and a lot of the reason she wrote the song was, as they were there that day, people were calling, and afterwards, people, sorry, oh, the heart attack, just kidding. People were calling them domestic terrorists, so Annie went home and wrote the song. You want to cancel us, we will pray for you. Love our God. Red, white, and blue, they call us terrorists. Domestic terrorists. Truth and justice, let God be our light. We reject propaganda on our news at night, and they call us terrorists. Domestic terrorists. Guns and country, America first. We stand for the flag, free speech, going to church. Indoctrinate our children with your CRT. Have to add to Disney, gender identity, and drag queen. They will not succeed. Call it names, what you do on the left. They called so many names, they no longer have effect. They call us terrorists. Domestic terrorists. January 6th, school boards get the jab. Mandates and censorship, gun control, we won't be had. We are patriots who love country and God. We are proud Americans. We're proud Americans. Freedom, family, country, and God. We're proud Americans. We're proud Americans. Oh yes, we are. Yeah, we're taking our country back. Thank you.
Among us, and we please give them a big hand. So, one last reminder before we get started. Primaries are really the time when you have a choice. Please do use it. In the general election, as you know, you only have only one choice, vote Republican, even though you can mix and match. In the primaries, as you know, you will need to choose your ballot. You will need, as you get there, to say, I want a Republican ballot or a Democratic ballot. But please don't just vote for the candidates that are on your voter guide. Vote all down the ballot for all the Republican positions. The voter guide is to guide you in the contested races, and we have very few this year. So for all the rest, all the way down, please make sure you vote. Very often we are asked why we endorse before we do this candidate forum. Well, that is dictated by the election calendar. We don't stop from the moment the candidates finish filing for their race, which is by mid-December. After that, we have to contact them, vet them, endorse them, print our voter guide, start spreading them, and do all those candidate forums. This is our fourth one. Next time will be the fifth. And there is no way we could do any other way than endorsing at the time we do. So we are now less than 1 week away from early voting. We need your help, to all of you, to finish spreading the word. As you know, the choice is not always easy, even for us. And we don't try to make the popular choice. We don't do the easy choice. Sometimes it is controversial and people have a hard time to even understand why we do it. We really do the best we can after a lot of searching, of praying, of discussing, and we hope that you will understand and follow our choices. What we try to do is to choose the most conservative candidate that has what we call a path to victory, which means not just winning in the primaries, that's the easy part. Normally the best candidate and the most conservative candidate should win. What we need is to win in November. Winning in March and losing in November would be terrible. That's what we are going to do through our choices. So please help us out. Our debate moderator tonight is going to be Ed Unit over there. Ed is a 24-year-old Air Force, 24 years, sorry, not year old. Make you feel good, huh? 24-year Air Force veteran who continues to serve in the Air Force Reserves. Ed is a very successful serial entrepreneur who lives here on the island full-time. He has served on a number of boards and commissions, such as an SC Commissioner, Civil Service Commission Chairman, Chamber Board and Police Foundation Board, and was the president of the Williamson County Republican Leaders. He's been a precinct chair 2 separate times, and he has served multiple times as delegate to county, Senate district, and state convention. Please help me welcome Ed Human.
I'm down. All right, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for that. We're going to have a great evening. It's going to be fun. We're going to kind of get through it. Let's see here on my notes. Just a couple of housekeeping things. Remember, I just want to thank the Boathouse for having us this evening. Everyone should know where the restrooms are, but they're over to the left. Great service, great food. Thank you. And feel free to keep ordering your drinks and food throughout the evening. That helps everyone. And I guess at this time, we already drew numbers, so we're going to do Congressman Cloud's video first, and then we'll have the 3 representatives go through their openings.
We the people. 3 words that remind us that our inalienable rights are not a grant from government, but they are a gift from God.
There is absolutely no question that we are in a battle for the heart and soul of our nation. But one thing you've never had to wonder since sending me to Washington, D.C. is whether or not I'm going to be in the fight for you. You've never had to wonder if I'm going to sell out my soul to Washington, D.C., and you've never had to wonder if I'm going to forget who I'm fighting for.
Our first responsibility in representing you in government is to keep you free.
Whether it's pushing back on a woke and a weaponized government.
No such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all our children.
This is not what parents want. This is an ideology that we will continue to oppose, or the ever-expanding control of a federal government that needs to be reined in. There is waste, fraud, and abuse throughout this whole thing. This is one more reason why we've got to give oversight to the executive branch. Or whether it's fighting this administration's push to open our borders, the border has got to be top priority.
Texas Congressman Michael Cloud is leading the charge.
We're doing everything we can to push back. For the Biden administration to come out and say that they think that they're suddenly supporting law and order in this country is almost laughable at this moment. We can't keep track of who's coming across our border. Working to reform how Congress works for you.
I came here to change the status quo. This was about restoring the proper powers of the membership of the body. We went back to Jefferson's plan instead of Pelosi's plan.
I serve now on the Appropriations Committee and on the Oversight Committee, and that's a unique 1-2 punch to be able to weed out waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption, and do things like defund drag shows on military bases, for example. And we've really got to bring these agencies in. Not only have they been politicized and weaponized, but they've just been inefficient. When it comes back to the big issues of the time, of course, the border, number one.
They have been creating a crisis over the past 2 years.
It's chaos down here, and it's all because of what the Biden administration has refused to do. Which is why I've called for the impeachment of Secretary Mayorkas. Certainly Mayorkas does deserve to be removed. We've passed laws to fund more security at the border, to more infrastructure at the border. They've canceled the contracts and won't do it. Right now we're paying for border wall to be stored instead of built. Is that correct?
We are.
Yes or no? Are we paying for border wall to be stored?
We are indeed.
Instead of built. Thank you. Traveling through this process has turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry, a lot of it going through no-bid contracts of political donors to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. A lot of corruption going on here. Thankfully, the House GOP yesterday passed a bill that even strengthens the current law. Now, I'm reminded of a scripture, of course, that says, don't get weary in well-doing. We will reap a reward if we faint not.
And so, in spite of the challenges we face today, I do believe that our nation's best days are ahead. Today is a wake-up call to the woke. We will not give up our liberties, though you threaten us. We will not cower to your cultural re-engineering, though you belittle us. We will not let you redefine what is good as evil and evil as good. We will not let you guilt us into selling away the birthright of the heritage we have as Americans.
We continue to be a voice for constitutional conservatism. Thank you for the prayers and for the encouragements that you've given us. God bless you.
All right, if we can have the representatives for the candidates, please come up to the respective tables, and Ms. Jernigan come up as well. Just going to briefly read the rules real quick while the candidates take their seats. Feel free to grab another water or soda as you need. While they're getting positioned, each candidate has been provided the rules and have agreed to the terms to participate this evening. Candidates are aware that the location is open to the public and it may be recorded and should always act in a professional manner. Starting order will be drawn just prior to the statements, which we've already drawn. Each candidate representatives will have 3 minutes for an opening statement. If you want to take note to the timekeeper over here with the red hat, once we get down to 30 seconds, he's going to hold up the 30-second sign, then followed by the 15 seconds, then the one that says the end, and then we will politely try to interrupt you. If we have to manually turn off the microphone, we will. I don't think we'll have to. If a candidate addresses another candidate other than the actual candidate, not a representative, then they would get a 2-minute rebuttal, but in this situation, there won't be any rebuttals this evening because the candidates aren't actually here themselves. Audience questions will be asked via cards, which have already been passed out and collected. They've also been shuffled, and they'll be passed around the audience to be randomly drawn and asked throughout. Any questions that are determined to be redundant, inflammatory in nature will not be asked. Appropriate questions will be randomly selected, as we said. As you're well aware, we're here tonight, this evening, for the Congressional District 27 debate. If the two candidates will take their seats up front, and we will start with 3 minutes for Ms. Jernigan to open up for Chris Mack. Yes.
Here for Chris Mack. Oh, here you're. Okay, I understand.
All right, 3 minutes starts now.
Can you hear me? Is it working? Okay. Chris couldn't be here tonight, but his schedule was altered this week. I will not be able to participate in the candidate forum. I'm very thankful for the invitation and must apologize for missing a very important opportunity to share my views and platforms. Please allow me to share a few sentiments. Tuesday on the House floor, an amazing achievement for our country took place. Republicans, with our Congressman Michael Cloud, voted to impeach Secretary Mayorkas. I believe these types of major accomplishments should not take 2 years and occur only during the election season. I respect the Congressman and pray for the success of our Congress. I am a tempered man, a man who seeks justice for our nation. A warrior with a strong Christian faith and intimate knowledge of the Constitution. Having a diversity of business background of over 30 years, the accomplishments of higher education, previously elected to office, and years of in-depth study of political analysis would allow me to serve our district and our nation with greater tenacity. It is my desire to lead our Republican Congress to net expedient results more in line with the expectations of safeguarding the sovereignty of our nation and to protect our citizens who live in fear every day on the border. Education and national debt are the other two areas to discuss. Yet at this time, the border invasion is taking the dominant political headwinds because it affects our sovereignty and our culture. Thank you, Chris Mack.
Test.
All right, your 3 minute time starts now.
I don't think he can get elected.
Hello, good evening. My name is Israel Garcia. I'm representing Scott Mandel. I am a native Corpus Christian. From about the age of 10 to 13, I lived on Padre Island as a young man. And my grandfather, Dr. Floyd Garrett, some of you might know, was kind enough to move us out here. And I grew up in Corpus Christi, ended up graduating from the Cron Word Academy with the Cron Word Young Republicans at the time. Went to West Point, graduated from West Point through the grace of God in 1997, and served as an engineer officer in our nation's great army. In 2002, got out, came home, and raised my family here. I am a business owner, and I've been a business owner ever since. I am absolutely endorsing Scott Mandel for the position of Congress because I believe that he is a businessman who we need. He's a philanthropist as well and a humanitarian that we need. And he has the backbone and the experience to fight for what's threatened in our country right now. He has the experience to fight for our sovereignty. He's the experience to fight for our children. In fact, he spent time in D.C. working for the Center for Missing and Exploited Children at a time in this nation when there wasn't any real agency put together for that. From that beginning in public service, he came home, he started a security company, he began to get into government contracting. He then familiarized himself and mastered through the government's AA program, government contracting, and currently holds contracts with ICE and Customs and Border Protection along the border. What I respect about Mr. Mandel is he's ready to give all of that up. He's done. He's done making money, he's made enough money, and he's ready to pour his energy and his time and his experience and his values into helping secure our border, secure our sovereignty, and promoting the values with which we've become a great nation and will remain a great nation. That is why I support Scott Mandel, vote Mandel for Congress, a lawman, a businessman, an experienced businessman, and a good man, a conservative Christian.
Just give it to me.
Thank you.
Give it to me.
We're going to go in reverse order for answering the questions. So these were just randomly drawn from the audience. Just going to start at the bottom of the stack and go through them. First question to both candidates. With all of the rumors of increased threats and the flow of illegals, do you think that the Patriots Act should be expanded? For this, Mr. Garcia, you have 2 minutes.
I passed out push cards earlier. The push cards have a really neat QR code on there. If you don't know how to use a QR code, raise your hand. I taught you. So what I suggest is on positions, Mr. Mandel is very clear, and he has probably the most organized information that I've seen on the internet thus far in a political campaign. And if you scan the QR code and you press the yellow button on your screen on your camera, you can go to all of his positions on all of the issues, and they're very well thought out and organized.
Thank you. Ms. Baker?
Can you please repeat the question?
Sure, absolutely. With all the rumors of increased threats and the flow of illegals, do you think that the Patriots Act should be expanded?
Do what? Oh. How much time do I have?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, this will not take anywhere near that. So just for your understanding, I am a campaign manager. I do not do legislative work. This is, like I said, a very different kind of setup. I certainly do not speak for the boss. So what we have done since he is on the House floor as we speak, with floor votes, is I am texting him the questions, and he is doing his best to send them back. So I defer to you, so hopefully he can text me in a second.
Absolutely, and I think we're all pretty much agreeable that as the responses come back in, if that's how you choose to spend your 2 minutes going forward. So, all right, thank you for that. We're going to move on to the next question. Ms. Baker, you'll have 2 minutes starting. What is your position on a central bank digital currency?
So Congressman Cloud's position
Correct.
is something I would have to ask him. Again,
I understand.
like I said, this is, I know conversations that we have had, but it is not, so I'm defer back.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia?
Okay. I know this is a public forum that was highly anticipated, and I know that we're representatives up here. I think it's great that Mr. Mandel has Mr. Mandel has a strong representative, and that Congressman Cloud has a strong representative in Ms. Baker. But I think for the viewers out there, and I know there will be viewers, I'm going to go ahead and show that QR code. If you'll just scan your screen, hopefully you can see that a little bit better. I'll use my time to put the QR code up there, and I'm more than sure that you'll see an answer to that question tomorrow morning, if not right now. So, hopefully that works for the viewers, and everyone in here can answer that. I'm sorry about the format, but that's what we got. And if I knew about the question, if I knew of Mr. Mandel, his position on that question, I would be glad to answer it.
Well, I think we're going to make an adjustment then, because we got about 25 questions. The idea that we were going to have the candidates here, and then there was some changes at the last minute. So just to make the best for the audience, if you all have something to do, let's just do 3 minutes each. If you have something to say as far as your platform, your website you want to share, the other person can do it once we're exhausted or want to move on or hit happy hour, unless there's suggestions.
Can we look at some of the questions if we agree on that we can talk about it?
I'm not opposed to that, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. If only we agree.
Now.
Ask for a suggestion.
So
you personally work with the candidates, why don't you tell your personal opinions about the candidate and why you chose them?
I love my crutch. That's awesome. Thank you. Yes.
So can I take 3 seconds? So he just texted back on the digital currency, and he said he is against. Actually, we've done a lot of work to oppose it, approach writers, etc.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, do you have, I guess we're good on that question then?
Second.
Do you all want to review these questions that we've drawn, and then in the meantime, while the other one's reading, the other folk?
We can either do that, or we can just take questions from them, knowing that we are representatives on the project.
Do you want to look at them, and I'll tell them what I know about my boss, and then I'll look at them, and you can tell them what you know about your boss?
Try to split them out?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so we'll just keep it to like 3 minutes. All right, so 3 minutes, please.
Well, yeah. I've got bubbles. He's texting. So as I said a minute ago, I'm the campaign manager. There's an official side. There's an unofficial side. On the official side, I am Congressman Cloud's senior field rep. So I travel the 14 counties, and I meet with industry leaders, elected officials, small business, big business, concerned citizens. And in the 14 counties, there's about 1 million people. So what my job is to, when I meet with people, find out what issues they're having with federal agencies. So we don't know exactly how many federal agencies there are. Boss is working on it. But so if I'm meeting with Kaylynn and she says she's having a problem getting her passport through the State Department, if I'm talking with you and you're having issues getting your VA benefits, if you have an issue with the FDA, IRS, getting your taxes, then we have 2 district offices, one in Corpus and one in Victoria. In each of those offices, there's caseworkers. Each caseworker handles the different areas, so security, HUD, etc. So when I meet with you, you tell me what your problem is, I send that information to that caseworker, and that caseworker then connects with you and resolves your problems. If I'm talking to big industry and they're talking about issues getting visas, work permits for their employees in order to have the right workforce, then that goes up to our legislative team in DC. So, take all the information, we get everybody, together on it, and then the legislative team, which in DC works like our caseworkers do. Each of the different legislative aides covers different areas. And so, when we meet with the port, when we meet with NAS Corpus Christi, with CCAD, with A&M Corpus, Del Mar, Chenier, on and on and on, it's that same process. So real quick, what I can tell you, and I'm sure I'll say more about this later, but as I drive Congressman Cloud around all over this district for the last year, this man is the exact same, whether he is in a meeting in front of all of y'all, whether it's a one-on-one, he is always calm, collected, and humble. And this man prays out loud before he gets out of the car to go into every meeting. So, thank you very much.
Mr. Garcia, 3 minutes to address the young lady's question on representing your involvement.
What was your question, ma'am?
You had a suggestion? Yes.
Well, my suggestion was that each of you tell us why you have chosen who you have chosen to work for.
Right.
What are some of the qualities?
Right.
What do you know about them? What stories can you tell?
So, I am from Corpus Christi, and as we know, the congressional district is huge. It encompasses 14 counties. Okay. As we've traveled around the district, or the district, We've talked to many different folks in many different sectors. We've talked to lawmen, we've talked to businessmen, we've talked to farmers and ranchers, okay? We've talked to fishermen and hunters. We've talked to other politicians. And the resounding message that we've been given as a team and as a candidate for Mr. Mandel is that they are thirsty for a representative that is strong and has a backbone enough to stand up to, but still develop a coalition that could stand up to all of the, I guess, the swamp, you know. Mr. Mandel's fond of saying, and I believe him, that it is a forest of wolves out there, especially in DC. Absolutely on the border. And in the forest of wolves, you need a wolf. You don't need a lamb. And so we're hearing this from many different sectors. It is something that I personally, and I'm giving you my personal observation, that I've heard. That is the first thing we've heard. Okay? We've also heard about, and we've been asked for Mr. Mandel to please be more present, that his presence would be appreciated. Mr. Mandel absolutely is committed to being present. The only man that I've seen thus far that can hop on a private jet and get from Corpus Christi to Bastrop or Victoria and drive over to Goliad or Yoakum or Bastrop and back in the same day that can cover that much space is a man that does not really need the paycheck. In fact, he's been willing to donate that paycheck to charities in order to be more effective, in order to show the American public that the tax dollars will not be wasted. That to me has been very much appreciated across the district when he lets people know that. These are just stories like you asked me to recount that reinforce my dedication and commitment to support Scott Mandel for this job. Mr. Mandel is committed to running a positive and classy campaign and has complimented Mr. Cloud and his staff on their classiness as well. So it isn't about bashing each other. Mr. Mandel will be a strong Republican before, during, and after this race and contribute to the Republican Party and be a strong supporter. And so with that in mind, has instructed all of us to absolutely be welcoming and engaging and open-minded and open-hearted, because we're all on the same team.
Thank you. 3 minutes if you'd like to address your support of the candidate.
Of course. I know most of y'all in here. I've known most of y'all for a long time. This has nothing to do with me, but the reason I work for Congressman Cloud, I don't have to work. My husband's retired Navy. We loved it here when he retired. We stayed. I've actually spent the last 5 years volunteering. I met Congressman Cloud through being the Nueces County Republican Party chair. Congressman Cloud was the Victoria County chair, served on the State Republican Executive Committee. And then, so for a long time I've known him. When his previous senior field rep, Luis Buentello, left to go to Chenier, they asked him who he recommended to take his position here, and he recommended me. And when I was asked, there's not many people I would go back to work for, but Congressman Cloud is a lifelong conservative, not a recent conservative. His business has been small business and church. He is not an extravagant man. He is a family man. His wife is an immigrant. They went through the legal process together. She was in education. They have 3 children. It's a lot of time and sacrifice when you feel called to serve, and he did, and he's done an amazing job. It's not very often you walk into Congress as a newly elected congressional member and build the relationships that he has built. The respect from both sides of the aisle. They are going to disagree when it comes to the actual votes. But when it's not a straight party vote, and we all know the Democrats are great at keeping their straight party voting, but they're always, behind the scenes, like, I know. And Congressman Cloud has built that respect. He was asked to be on the Freedom Caucus. He is now a board member, sitting on appropriations and oversight. This district is in a better position than, I wish people could understand that, because the majority of members that get spots on appropriations buy their way onto those committees. Congressman Cloud has not bought his way onto any committee. And the 1 week a month in district that he is here, he is everywhere. And the people across the district love him just like y'all do.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, I believe you drew a few questions, or you have 3 minutes to...
Yeah, I don't know, Barbie, if you had a chance to review those, but those are the ones that I kind of felt comfortable talking about. You can review them if you do too.
Were there others? Or these are the ones that we...
I reviewed them, I didn't draw them.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, go ahead,
And
Steve.
it's-
Go ahead. I'm
But
sorry.
I only talk about them if you feel comfortable.
Oh, no, talk about any of them you want. Yeah, whatever.
I think I'll just keep flowing with the, I'll just keep flowing, if that's okay, with, a couple points that Ms. Baker so eloquently brought up. And she's right, it is very impressive for Mr. Cloud to have gotten those appointments and be in those positions. We're lucky to have a congressman on those, on the Appropriations Committee and the Oversight Committee. Unfortunately, and just like any other great position comes great responsibility. And I think the questions should be asked, and Mr. Mandel has made it clear and has talked enough about it to where I feel like I can talk about it as well, that with the positions on appropriations, it's amazing how there are still sole source contracts being given out. And as an oversight, to still see those sole source contracts, and this is billions of dollars in contracts being given out still. We elected Mr. Cloud to come down on practices like that, to be, to have oversight, and I was excited myself when he got those positions. The fact that these sole source contracts are being handed out to the tune of billions of dollars does not sound like an end result to why you would elect somebody into that position. I'm not, coming down on Congressman Cloud because he does a lot of work, I'm sure. However, I know that as a contractor that knows exactly how those contracts work, and as somebody that can point them out and figure them out, that even understands because he's managed and dealt with those contracts and seen them pass him right by, uncompeted, that I'd much rather have a gentleman in there that knows what it's like to manage millions and billion-dollar contracts, or even knows how to fight them or talk them down if they're not fair, as well as the only lawman in the bunch of candidates. And married for 39 years to Thelma Garza Mandel, and a dedicated husband and family man and Christian man, I think he's a great conservative that can carry the ball forward from this point and do so as well. So great points, and great points to jump off from. Thank you.
So, did you want to actually go over any of those questions?
Okay.
Because we can rebuttal all day.
We could. Did you want to? Is it your preference?
So I actually have some text messages from the boss. If I can find them. Okay, so Congressman Cloud says, what can or not be done with the power of the purse, its impact and limitations. Oh, sorry. Okay, number one, he said, don't give the Biden administration money to do bad things. Congressman Cloud and his team was successful in getting many 300 to 400 writers into the House approves bills to stop everything from DEI, ESG initiatives, catch and release. I think that was a mistype. Biden is using to abuse parole at the border. Many more. Question number 2. Sorry, this is so awkward, guys. I'm sorry. Congressman Cloud wishes he was here. He has said that like 3 times. And I said, they wish you were here too. I'm good for comic relief and curb appeal. So, okay. What do you think of the war between Russia and Ukraine? He says, secure our border first. He has continually opposed more money to Ukraine. Currently, there is no accountability. U.S. tax dollars are going to fund their politicians and pension plans, NGOs, etc. Too much waste, fraud, and abuse. And because I know this is timed and we'll go back and forth, I don't want to bore you with me just reading stuff, but I do want to add, keep reading, I will. And I'll share this with you, so you can even go back and review it. It's so interesting, and it's something that being in politics for a long time has always amused me, but when you walk into Congress as a new person, the number of committees, the overwhelming schedule, the just finding your way around the hallways. 30 seconds. Do you know how many House buildings, Israel? Do you know how many buildings actually house the different House of Representatives? Just the congressional members, not the Senate?
I know about the regular House.
So there's 4 different huge buildings, and that's just Congress. That's just, House of Representatives. So it's not like you walk in and say, I'm this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna end, please. But if it was that easy, anybody would do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbie. So I'm going to go ahead and revert to the questions. So the question I drew was, should we deport people who have come here illegally? Okay, and I think Mr. Mandel would agree that yes, we absolutely should. However, I think the more important question is, can we afford to do so? Who knows what our current national debt is? Mr. McCauley, I know you know. So your example, $34+ trillion debt. I don't know that we could afford to deport however million illegal aliens are in this country right now. I don't know how, and this is a sad reality that we're in. Every single lawmaker must wrestle with this question right now. How are we going to afford to do anything, right? Anybody that has been elected and is part of this Congress in general has the stain on them right now of not being able to figure out how to at least chip away at our national debt, period. Anybody who's been there, if you're an incumbent, you have to answer that question right now to every single one of us taxpayers. And I don't know how they can answer that question. I don't know how anybody can go back to their districts and go back and brag about anything that's been done by our existing legislators at all. It's got to be tough. Chip Roy's up there, demanding for them to do anything to help, that he can take back to his district and be proud of it. He can go back and let his voters know that he's done. I feel sorry for the incumbents in a way that they have nothing to come back and say and show for them or for their efforts. And I'm ready to elect somebody that at least has a shot at understanding the complexities and has the wherewithal to do it effectively and create alliances out there. There is a certain respect that you get for being, as established in business as Mr. Mandel is in DC. Because Barbie's right, it's not easy. You walk in there fresh, and you're only one of 135, and it's got to be tough. But I gotta say that yes, we should absolutely deport them. I'm not sure if we could afford to. Now, more on the national debt and the border crisis. There is a plan. It's called Abacus. Mr. Mandel took it to DC in 2013. Used those QR codes. Look up Abacus. I don't know what it stands for, but it's Abacus, A-B-I-C-U-S, and it's on his website. And Abacus details a very multifaceted plan to secure the border that Mr. Mandel is prepared to take and present and own up in Congress.
Thank you.
My turn to
Yes,
answer
ma'am.
some questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so about the border, I think it would be very interesting for people to understand how much money private contractors have received and made on an annual basis by transporting those illegals across the country, that now we've got to figure out how to get them back out. So number 3, what is your position in regard to the Hamas-Israel war? Congressman Cloud says, stand by our ally Israel. He has been pushing for Israel dollars to have papers. I think he's voting. So stand by our ally Israel. Okay. He has said that. And you can do the same thing. You can check out his website. But I will get these clarified and share them with Suzanne so that you can share them, his answers to these. Okay. Sorry, I'm going back in here. 4, with all the rumors of increased threats and the flow of illegals, do you think, we did that one, didn't we? Do you think that the Patriots Act should be expanded? And he said, we can secure our border without threatening our constitutional rights. This week specifically, and for the last several months, Congressman Cloud has been opposing the attempts to renew FISA without Fourth Amendment protections. The corrupt intelligence agencies want expanded authorities to spy on U.S. citizens, fighting to make sure that they are held accountable for past criminal actions and that constitutional protections are restored and maintained. How much? I got 30 seconds.
I'm totally out of line on this because I haven't grabbed a piece of paper.
Okay.
I want to know what the hell they're going to do about the January 6th gulag. And I talked to your boss about that.
January 6th people.
So what did he tell you?
I said, are you guys going to have cojones enough to do something about it? And he didn't really say too much, but that was quite a while ago. Now today I heard, because our Speaker of the House has been releasing those tapes.
Right.
But Mitch McConnell stopped it. So.
Is that something you both would like to address?
I have an answer, by the way, from Mr. Mandel.
Okay. You kind of got cut off with like 30 seconds remaining. Would you like to?
No, go ahead and answer their question.
Yeah, I'm just going to read one of the answers that Mr. Mandel did send, so I don't have to respond to anything. So this is about his position on the Israel and Hamas war. Scott says, America first. Do not send cash, but will support some supplies. Will not support any money to them until we close the border first for 1 year. Close the border for 1 year. And what he has said on this is, close the border for a year and send a message to the world that the border is closed for a year. So they will stop sending people. Okay, close the border for a year to figure out how to hire enough immigration judges. There's not enough immigration judges. It'll take us 54 years at the rate that we're at with the staff that we have right now to adjudicate all the asylum seekers that are already here. Is that that's pretty stark. 54 years, we have to hire more people. Can't just hire more people with the debt that we have. Got to close the border down. Let's deal with what we've got. Let's triage. This is about putting a clamp on the artery. So that's Mr. Mandel's position on the Israeli-Hamas war.
Thank you. Ms. Baker?
So, one of the points for individuals seeking this position, I'm trying to figure out how to word this because I'm not the congressman. If people have a question about his voting record, right? If there is something that he has voted on that is not in alignment with how you want him to vote, then that is a great question. But if his voting record aligns with you and your values, then he's one vote, right? He's one vote, and the momentum that they have made when they stood up as one of the 21 to demand change in the House with the Speaker, the harassing phone calls, the threats, everything that came with that. When people say he's not strong, I don't think you realize what strength that took. And it was successful. It was so successful. They can actually offer amendments on the floor now. They've never been able to do that through the Biden administration. And the way to work down the debt, what he's talked about repeatedly, is being on appropriations, getting through that budget and being able to do the riders. The reason we're in such a horrible position debt-wise, my understanding from what Boss has said, is because there has been no one on that committee that says, no, we're not just going to put a big chunk of money here with no oversight to it. So when you look at this much money is spent, it goes in this pot, and as it goes down, it doesn't make it all the way down through all the different agencies. But with being able to go in and say, okay, this money is appropriated, but the riders state this money has to, or this money cannot be spent on XYZ. The reining it in is about making sure they do all 12 appropriations bills, not wait and do all these crazy omnibus bills.
Thank you.
So we're not going with the question, so I think I have to rebut, and I'm not rebutting her, but I'm just adding to going with the flow again, please. And once again, excuse the format. Barbie brought up strength, and she's right. It does take strength. There's many different types of strength. God knows, my wife will tell you. There are many different types of strength. There's strengths that she has that I don't, right? As a military man, I know that there and I care deeply about this, there are peacetime generals and there are wartime generals. Peacetime generals are very good. They're diplomatic. They're good at administrative tasks and administrative functions. They're very good at organizing budgets, equipment, personnel, and I think that there's a different type of pressure, different type of influence that a peacetime commander should have. And then there's a wartime commander. A wartime commander needs to have an entirely different set of characteristics and qualities. A wartime commander has to be decisive. A wartime commander doesn't have time to deal with the intricacies of bureaucracy, of red tape. A wartime commander knows that under attack and under invasion, and I think we can all agree that we're under invasion right now. Am I wrong? I'm right. And a wartime commander knows that it's time to get things done. And that's why, and if you don't think the power of one is powerful, any person that God calls and imbues with the strength to get in a crowd and does not succumb to the peer pressure, does not have to have a group around them, can influence the entire group. Absolutely. And the reverse is true too. But I believe that Mr. Mandel, and absolutely from watching him around this district and from watching him with his group of friends and businessmen and community leaders in this community, absolutely has the qualities, the characteristics, the grit, and the intestinal fortitude to be that wartime commander and wartime congressman that we need. Because we are under invasion right now. That's all I got.
Thank you.
So we're just free doing this. We're just taking turns talking.
I think we agreed to utilize the time to.
So we're like, are y'all tired yet? Let's see here.
I think we have about.
Are you?
7:48. So.
Let's do one more each and then we can start wrapping up.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I just have to. So everybody remember what the military was like long time ago? It was all about quantity over quality, right? Like you needed more men to be standing on the field. You take turns, shooting arrows at each other. Then it advanced and advanced. Well, wartime now, we have, more people sitting in caves with fingers on, buttons. It's a totally different kind of war right now. And so y'all know Congressman Cloud. If you don't, he is going to be here for an open house at the Corpus District Office Wednesday morning at 8:30 a.m. I've got the information. I'll give it to you. If there is something that you want to ask him, please come. It is open. It is, he would absolutely love to see you. His lifelong conservative record, his lifelong morals, he's doing an amazing job. And if you could hear the other representatives when I go up to DC and sit in the meetings, the respect that he has is because of his values and his consistency in his work. So again, Israel, we've known each other for a while. We can go back and forth, but please stop by, see Congressman Cloud. Call the DC office, call the Victoria office, call the Corpus office, call my cell phone. I'll text the boss and ask him whatever. I was seeing if he had anything else to add. Congressman Cloud says, please tell everyone again, hi, wish I could be there. So, God bless. Talk to you later. Okay.
All right, Mr. Garcia.
I'm literally going to wrap this up, guys.
Sure.
Because I know we've been here for a long time.
I would just recommend that we just go into like 5-minute closings if y'all are agreeable.
I think we're good. I think we're good.
All right.
So I just want to thank everybody for being here. I know a lot of you have to get home. I know that, again, if you take the push cards, scan the QR code, you'll see a lot of information on there, well-researched information, not nuanced, not opinions, that you should. I think everybody in the Congressional District should read that information. It gives a lot of data. Please vote for Scott Mandel. And a vote for Scott Mandel is a vote for strength. A vote for Scott Mandel is a vote for the only law enforcement officer who understands law enforcement issues and child trafficking issues firsthand. And a vote for Scott Mandel is a vote for a very competent businessman to run this district, or to be in charge of and represent the members of this district. Thank you very much and have a good night.
I'm gonna try that again.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Suzanne, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to turn it over to Miss Suzanne to wrap us up.
So first, I didn't think there would be any question for me, but it looks like the person who has the question might have left the room. But she had 2 questions, so I guess I need to answer them, even though I was not on the panel today. So the first one was regarding Michael Cloud, saying he has not done anything for us. He does not even know about HB 4316. So the only thing I can say, well, I think he has done a certain number of things for us and for the country, including trying to get a much better speaker than what we had, and to have a much better system of introducing laws and amendments and making sure that all the Republicans do get a voice, not just a few that were in the old boys network, and that is very important. Regarding HB 4316 specifically, I know he was one of the 29 co-sponsors of that bill, which means that he must have known something about it, and of course that he voted for it. So that was that first question. Second question was regarding our endorsement of Jimmy Granberry, saying he's a Democrat. Why are you doing this? Well, we have answered that question already a few times, and I could go on for an hour, but that's not my role today. But there are 2 important questions anyway, answers to that. First, we always say we do want and try to get Democrats to join us. So we cannot at the same time honestly say, well, we need the Democrats to open their eyes and join the Republican ranks, and whenever they do, say, oh, but we don't want you. So that's the first thing. Second, there is no test to say you're a Republican. It's a declaration and a commitment. So either you believe them or not, but that can be argued that's just a question of personal judgment. So why do we do it? As I said before, we don't do it because we think it's an easy or popular thing to do. We knew it would not be. We do it because we really thought that he was the only one who would have a chance to win in November. And the alternative was really worse than what we had with Mark Gonzalez. I discussed with a lot of judges who currently work with him and do agree that they think it was the best position to take. So are we all right? I don't know. Will we ever be able to prove that we were right? No. That's the dramatic thing in it. If he was to lose, we couldn't prove that James Sayles, or if Granberry runs in November, we couldn't prove that James Sayles would have won. If he does win, we could not prove either that James Hale would have lost. So we have no way to prove we were right. So we can just try to convince you we did our very best effort. We did right or we did wrong, but that was our best recommendation. So those were my questions. So back to closing. Yes?
Can we do a little side personal note? I didn't give congratulations in order to this young lady. You got, tell us the news.
Sure.
Tell us the news, come on.
He was on my list too.
Yeah. She has news, come on. Come on.
Engaged?
So
She got engaged.
She got
congratulations, yeah. We are also so blessed to have both of them who do so much for our community, and so blessed that you are together, and we wish you the very best of luck in all your life. So thank you. Congratulations again. Thank you, Kathy. And so before I close, I really wanted also to ask me, Michael, who had warned me that he would be a little bit late, but give us a little update.
Okay, well, thank you all. Suzanne, thank you for having me. As you all know, Michael McCauley, running for the 28th District Court. Most everybody's left, but to the folks that are here, I appreciate your support. I know I'm going to be the best candidate in March, and I know I'm going to be the best candidate in November, so I appreciate your support. Thank you, sir.
So now I would like to officially thank both the candidates who made the effort to be represented and to try to communicate with those two that I would really like also to thank. It was a very difficult challenge. It was a totally out of the ordinary situation. I think we all did try to do our best. You did great, and I know the candidate in strange circumstances did the best without being here to still be here as much as they could. So thank you all. So now I still want to remind all of you that now it's your turn to act, your turn to vote, your turn to make the difference. So please continue to help us spread the word, distribute those voter guides. You don't like somebody on it, just cross that person, but do it for the sake of all the others that are there that nobody knows, like the candidates for the higher courts. So, and then we'll see you next week for the higher court forum, and in 2 weeks for our Texas Vote Right rally. Thank you.